Congressional District 16. I'm running because our system is rigged. The political system is rigged against us. It's rigged in favor of the wealthy, the super powerful, the well-connected, and the rest of us are left behind in the dust. We're told to do more with less. We're saying everything is fine, everything is fine. But they continue to take things away from us, and the millionaires and the billionaires are the ones controlling everything. And it's not working for our benefit at all. Now, I am running because I want to protect Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food assistance, programs for people with disabilities. I'm running to protect those things. I'm also running to get ICE off of our streets. We've got to get ICE off our streets and shut down those concentration camps. People are being scooped up and shipped off hundreds of miles from where they live. And then the conditions there are deplorable. People are dying in those conditions. And then you've got US citizens who go out and they're protesting against it lawfully, and what happens? They're met with violence. They're shot down. We've had at least three that we know of, US citizens who've been killed by ICE agents. There may be more, because they've already covered up one that we just found out about recently, so we don't know. But this is what's going on in our country right now. I'm going to Washington. I want to go to Washington to fight that. I want to go to Washington to fight for you, to be your voice. That's what it's all about. Now, before I got to this point, I spent 20 years in broadcast journalism. In that time, I had a very simple job. It was to tell the truth and hold the powerful accountable. And that's what I did. I told the truth, I held the powerful accountable. I shined a light day in, day out on the problems facing our communities. I made sure that people who didn't have a voice had a voice, that they were heard. These are the kinds of skills that I want to bring to Washington, D.C. on your behalf. Now, I'm talking about what I did for 20 years there, but after I left that broadcasting career, there was something else that I've done that's been very, very beneficial and helps me in the position I'm in right now. I started a small business where I worked with people to help them find affordable health insurance. I worked with people to navigate Medicare, Medicaid, the Social Security system. That's what I do on a daily basis. So I sit across the table from people who are wondering, how in the world am I going to pay for my medicine? How am I going to pay for my medicine and then also pay the rent or the mortgage? How am I going to put food on the table? I sit across the table from people who work harder than they've ever worked in their lifetime, but they have jobs that don't pay a whole lot. They may be working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, and then they fall into this cruel gap where they make too much money to qualify for Medicaid, but not enough money to actually afford health insurance. So what do they wind up having to do? They have to drop the health insurance because they have absolutely no other choice. And then they have children, and they have to make a decision that no parent should have to make. How am I going to be able to feed my kids? How am I going to do that? Meanwhile, we see these programs, life-saving programs, where money is taken away from them, shut down, knocking them out of qualification for these programs, while the millionaires and the billionaires give themselves a $4 trillion tax cut. $4 trillion permanent, and they take it away from the people who need it the most. This is not the kind of country we should be living in. It's not the country I want to live in. I want to go there to fight to make sure that we don't have to live in that we restore this country, we reclaim our democracy. That's what it's all about. Now, during the time that I worked in broadcast journalism, I met with a lot of people. I met with a lot of powerful people. Just to give you a rundown on some of them. Archbishop Desmond Tutu, spent the entire day with him on the story. The Archbishop of Canterbury was Rowan Williams at the time, spent most of the day with him on stories. I interviewed the UN Secretary General Kofi Annan. How about, let's see, the Cardinal of Boston at the time, Bernard Cardinal Law. That was during the time when we had the sexual scandal where little boys were being molested. So some of the people I've talked with, I mean, the powerful people, some have been good, some have been not so good. But the most amazing stories that I've ever had, hang on. This is the Zoom meeting that I'm doing. I opened it up.
Glenn squeezed us in today so that we could make this happen. That's why we're out of sequence and doing a speech early. So he's got to be in something else as soon as he's done here.
So I started the Zoom meeting, so at least they'll be able to take that on. We don't need to hear it in here. So what I was saying, when it came time to the people that I met, the most amazing stories were from ordinary people, everyday people. They are the reason I am here. These are the reasons that I'm actually running for Congress. But I want to share something with you that's even more personal than that when it comes to ICE. And I share your anger when it comes to ICE. Here's why. My daughter-in-law is Brazilian. She has her green card. She and my son were happy living in Ruskin. But she's been on self-imposed house arrest for months now because she's afraid to go away. Because you know, here in Florida, all law enforcement, they're all deputized to be eyes for ICE. So she's afraid that if she even gets into a fender bender, something could happen and then she's shipped off to wherever, who knows? So she can't take it anymore. Tomorrow, she's going back to Brazil permanently. She's moving back. My son is going there to help her. He's going to be there less than a week and he's coming back here. Trump and this cruel administration has busted up my family. That's what's going on. We cannot stand idly by and watch this happen. We have to fight it. That's why I'm doing this. So I'm working because we definitely want to save Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, programs for people with disabilities. But we also need to change the nature of this country again to where we are welcoming, where it's a place where people want to come and not run away from. That's what it's all about. So I know this is somewhat abbreviated what I'm doing right here because I do need to get into the other meeting. But I want you to understand what it is that I'm all about, why I'm running, why I need your help, because I cannot do it alone. We can't do it alone. We can do it when we are together. The millionaires and the billionaires want to keep us divided. They want it to be Republican against Democrat. It doesn't need to be that way. You know, it really is about top versus down. They want to keep us all divided. As long as we're divided, they can continue to win. But when we come together, there is no one more powerful than the American people. But we have to be united to do that. So what I need you to do is go to GlenPearsonForCongress.com and do whatever it is that you can do. You can donate, volunteer, whatever. Help make this a country we're proud of again. Help reclaim our democracy. That's what it's all about. That's why I'm running. That's why I need your support. And like my grandmother always said, when we've got work to do, let's get after it. All right.